In the book of Judges, chapter 20, verses 38 and 40, it states, "Now there was an appointed sign between the men of Israel and the liers in wait, that they should make a great flame with smoke rise up out of the city. And when the men of Israel turned again, the men of Benjamin were amazed, for they saw that evil was come upon them." Now, to Israel, it was a sign. But to Israel's enemies, it was a warning of coming evil. Smoke signals are one of the most ancient forms of long-distance communication. In the book of Judges, God's people used smoke signals in battles. The ancient Chinese did the same thing with smoke to signal an impending attack. But one of the most beautiful signals of long-distance communication was during the sanctuary service in ancient Israel, where the smoke from the sacrifice represented the long-distance prayers of the saints mingled with the close righteousness of Christ. Wow! I'm Rico Hill, host of From Sickness to Health, and this is Sickness the Blue Guy. Whoa! I see you've got your own little smoke thing happening here.
Yeah, I got my own smoke communication going on.
Oh, cool, cool. What kind of signal are you sending?
There's a barbecue at your house tonight at 6 o'clock.
Oh, no, you got it all wrong. There's no barbecue at my house.
Oh, there is now. Me and about 50 of my bestest friends. We're going to your place for burgers and chicken and steaks. Oh, my.
Oh, no. You got the wrong smoke signal, my friend. This program is about inflammation and what triggers it, like grilled meat that is carcinogenic.
What about grilled tofu?
Roll the program.
What about smoked tofu?
You are right here in the studio From Sickness to Health, and we are so thankful that you've joined us here. Now, today, we're going to get into a topic that is going to make a lot of you happy. Some of you, you're going to have some things to think about. But before we do it, any of that, we're going to say hello to our good friend and co-host, Sickness, who is on location in some remote location. You're at a barbecue place. How's everything, Sickness?
Oh, I'm doing good. Look at this. I'm at Risky's Barbecue. Get it? Man, that's good. They got smoked armadillo here.
Well, we're going to talk some more about that. I know it's going to be interesting, but let me introduce our guest today. I have with us once again Dr. Thomas Jackson, who is a doctor of natural health sciences and also the head of the meat ministry in Huntington, Tennessee. Welcome, Dr. Jackson.
Oh, thank you for having me again.
We're going to have fun. Yes. With him is his wife, who is a doctor of nutritional sciences. Laverne Jackson, thank you for being here with your husband.
Thank you for inviting us.
And you know, it's always fun on this program when we have couples. And once again, we have Couples Day here on From Sickness to Health. It's nice to see healthy couples. Here we've got another healthy couple here with us. We've got Reedlyn Brady, who is a physical therapist, and he's with his lovely wife, Sherry Lynn Brady, and she is an occupational therapist, and they have a passion for health and ministry. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rico. Glad you're all here. We're going to have a great discussion because today we're talking about barbecuing. Grilling on the Barbie, as they say. So you're going to love the things we're going to talk about, but first we're going to have Sickness go from his location and to another location. He's going to show us what he's working on. What you got?
Thanks, Rico. I know that today you're planning to speak in a derogatory manner about one of America's greatest pastimes and traditions. So I'd like to talk right to the camera, to the heart of the men out there. Men, I'm going to stand up for you for a change. You know, man, depression is the leading cause of depression. And the reality is it's been this way for years and years. Otherwise strong, active men of great talent under the tyranny of this incapacitating pseudo-illness with no relief in sight. That is until the barbecue grill was invented. This amazing device has changed the world, and it was made in a laboratory just like this one. After this, depression started to disappear. And amazingly, this pastime led to that. Most mental disorders, they were completely or mostly eradicated by at least 2.5%. And thus, normal men started to arise to become members of society, free of depression, free of boredom, and most of those embarrassing inhibitions. And now men, they love their meat. They love their delicious meat on these grills. The conclusions reached in the expressed and unexpressed opinions of the men who love grilling, and these do not reflect normal people. Back to you, Rico.
Thank you, Sickness. Do you buy it? Do you all buy it? Little suspect, right?
Yeah.
What do you all think of this whole thing? Depression is the leading cause of depression. And without the barbecue grill, men are depressed. Any validity to this?
I think it's a smoke screen.
A smoke screen, absolutely.
I think it's a smoke screen. It's behind that, no sir.
So today we're talking about a great American pastime. People love it, they enjoy it. They are, you know, if you try to take it away, and we have to acknowledge, we have to concede that
Oh yes, it is
we
good.
love
Part of life.
it's a part of life, it's a part of culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Certainly in certain regions of the country, yeah?
Yeah.
Even you hear from the Australians, they talk about putting a shrimp on the Barbie.
That's right.
Right?
That's true.
So it's something, it's worldwide. And none of us can deny it tastes good.
Yes. Yes.
Barbecue, this or that tastes good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So none of us will deny that.
Nope.
No.
At some point, we enjoyed it, but we have come into a greater light.
Amen.
Amen.
That's right.
And so we want to talk about this greater light that we have experienced, and we want to share some of this light with you in hopes that you might find comforts, find some hope, and also prevent a lot of the sicknesses and a lot of the diseases, because we find that there is a link with barbecuing and smoke and grilling and so forth. And we want to look at the difference between barbecuing and grilling. In fact, Dr. Jackson, what is the difference?
And there's definitely a difference between barbecue and grilling, where we find in grilling on high heat, but it's fast, but the flames do not come in contact, or the meat does not come in contact in grilling with the flames. And therefore it's on smoke flames, not on charcoal and wood, where barbecuing is smoked meat, where the meat is smoked, and where we find wood and charcoal, and plus the juicing of the meat really brings out that steam and brings out the flavor. So grilling, you can grill vegetables, you can grill other non-flesh food, but barbecuing, remember, is smoking the meat.
And so when we're driving around the city and you see these plumes of smoke coming up, and
Yes.
sometimes I see them barbecuing in like almost like a sawed in half
Yeah,
oil drum or
oil
trash
drum,
can,
yes.
and they make it into a grill.
They call,
And-
sometimes it's a smoker.
A smoker.
It's a smoker.
So intentionally
It's just-
trapping the smoke,
That's the key.
keeping it in,
That's
and
right.
getting that flavor.
And
that
then
we
you
love.
can find certain wood, such as hickory, that gives the hickory flavor, but you got to trap it, smoke it. Grilling, you don't do that. It's just a fast, direct heat cooking. Are you following me? So the smoking is what distinguishes between those two.
Now, I have a sneaky suspicion that there's some Bible that talks about smoke and things like that. I know you're going to bring that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to see where we're going to take this to the spiritual, because we always want to bring in the spiritual parallels, because you find that as we're talking about these physical things, there is a direct correlation to our spiritual health. But let's continue to deal with the physical for right now. What type of things are we talking about when we talk about barbecuing? Let's just be clear. We're not talking about vegetables here, otherwise it wouldn't be a problem, right?
Pork.
Pork, right?
That's your main one.
All your flesh.
Is pork the main one,
Steaks.
like pork ribs?
No.
Steak, beef.
You know, steak, beef.
Steak, beef,
But
chicken.
usually in the
chicken,
community,
yeah.
in
Even
our
some-
community,
Okay,
we did mostly pork. There was pork and
Far as
then
ribs.
and
Far as
chicken.
ribs go.
Yeah, barbecue
Yes,
ribs.
barbecue
ribs. That's a big thing.
That's the big.
And it depends on, you know, the locale where you're from.
Right.
But like my wife said, you know, well, though we was raised in the Midwest, such as Chicago, but folks migrated from the South. But during these holiday seasons, 4th of July, Memorial Day, we had, you know, ribs, pork ribs.
Pork.
Now, we love barbecue, like you said, we love barbecue, you know. I went more from pork to beef ribs, but pork was the case. And as we understood how that was really affecting us, we had to make some changes because we used to travel 500 miles just to get.
What?
You know,
Yes.
we would travel 500 miles from another state back to Chicago to get ribs,
Barbecue
rib tips. No one could barbecue
like Chicago.
like Chicago.
Wow.
I imagine there's some people out there
we had
who
a
might see
smoking
this and say, I don't know.
There's a lot of competition now.
Mississippi and Alabama and Texas can give it a run for its money.
You might be right. You might be right because.
But you went 500 miles.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like people say, man, this is the best steak in the world. Now, we make that statement because we never really taste everything in the world. But I do know from our perspective, it was the best because we checked it out in one state, another state. Few places went, but nothing like that.
Well, 500 miles, you have the opportunity to check along the way. It's plenty of miles, right?
Rico, I'd like to make a
But you
comment,
go to
please.
what you know is best.
Hold on.
So notice you did.
Hold on one second. Let's see
Okay, all right.
what do you have going on with
I just want to say I admire that type of dedication, willing to drive so far for a barbecue. But hey, let's alleviate people's concerns because some of us will use organic wood and organic pork. So we're health nuts just like you. All is well.
organic?
Organic wood.
Organic wood.
I've never heard of organic wood.
Sickness is sick.
Well, the 500 miles drive to get some barbecue was kind of sick too, and that's why
I played
he's
into
gravitating
his hand.
to.
I played into his hand.
Yes, you did. You did exactly that.
But no creatures.
But thank God you've had the victory.
I got the
Amen,
victory.
amen.
Now, Breland, you were about to say something here.
I was about to, because we've just touched on how deeply ingrained in our culture this is, where we would
yes.
drive 500 miles to get the best ribs and the
Oh,
best
yes.
barbecue
Oh,
in
yes.
the world. and you mentioned some of the states: Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Florida. All of these states are they love their barbecue. Oh, yeah. You know, we actually went to a birthday?
It's a
baby shower.
baby shower.
And in the baby shower, this couple, our neighbor, wanted to grill, or wanted to barbecue actually. You know, to smoke it and do what he does. And you can the aroma that comes out. It really is. It smells wonderful.
That's right.
But when you consider the fact that the smoke is almost equivalent to the exhaust that comes from the car.
That's right.
What?
Then
carbon monoxide.
the carbon monoxide that comes from that grill that smokes your meat.
Mercy.
It's the same thing in the car. So then you're actually just eating the
Eating the chemicals that you byproducts.
the byproducts of that.
And it's like smoking. You just 8 pound just a steak. It's like smoking 600 cigarettes.
Wow.
If you never smoked and you just barbecue that steak or that pork, and on those charcoal briskets,
Yes.
you might as well smoke 600 cigarettes, and a person cannot do that in one day.
So the person who is eating barbecued meat and
Yeah.
says, well, I eat my meat and I enjoy it, but I don't smoke.
Yeah.
They're really smoking.
Oh, yes.
They smoked.
They're really smoking.
They smoked up.
You know, this brings up a word, carcinogens.
Yes.
Carcinogens. It's not a word that is familiar with a lot of people.
Right.
But we want to look at that word, and I'm going to sort of step into this territory by looking at a video. So let's take a look at this little news clip, and let's get an understanding of carcinogens and what might be happening as we barbecue meat.
The sizzle, the smoky flavor, the grill lines. Barbecued meats are not only delicious, but healthy too, right?
Grilling is a low-fat method of cooking, but we have to be aware that it can increase our risk of cancer if we eat grilled meats too often.
It's true, those juicy burgers, especially the charred ones, can contain cancer-causing chemicals called carcinogens.
When you grill meat, some of the fat does drip down onto the charcoal or the flame, and when fat meets that really high temperature, it develops a carcinogen, and the smoke carries the carcinogen back up to the meat, which can be dangerous for our bodies.
Now, before you get all fired up, there are some ways to grill safer. One way is to simply avoid burning or searing meats. Cooking food longer at lower temperatures is best.
To also cut down on carcinogens, you can decrease the amount of time that the food is actually on the grill. Pre-cook the meat in either the oven or in the microwave and finish it up on the grill just to give it a little bit of crispness and a little bit of flavor.
Another tip, choose leaner cuts.
Wow. Now, you heard that. They talked about carcinogens. But then that brought up the other C word, cancer. Carcinogens equal cancer. So while we may have loved it, maybe have driven 500 miles, we get the the warmth of that smoke, that very pleasurable smell of barbecuing. It leads to cancer.
That's what it does.
Yes.
Now that's a little word with a lot of impact on a lot of families. Right. And we're going to do a program actually about cancer. I'm going to talk about that in detail. But right now we're talking about something that has become almost synonymous with holidays and special occasions. And we enjoy them, but we're finding that it's leading to cancer, which is the #2 killer in America after heart disease.
That's right.
Worldwide.
So the smoke, the smoke.
Did you hear what it said? The smoke. You remember that?
It makes
smoke.
me, yes, when we think about smoke, you know, they say where there's smoke, there's fire.
That's fire.
And when I think about fire, I think about inflammation.
That's right.
Right? Inflammation. So that's like burning in the body. And
That's right.
if you have a pro-inflammatory, that means you're having an inflamed situation all the time, it's going to lead to cancer.
That's right. That's right.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. You know, there's a Bible text, Rico, in the Psalms 102, verse 3, as you spoke of that. Notice what the Word of God says. It says, "For my days are consumed." And then it goes on, it says, "like smoke, and my bones are burned as an earth." My days are consumed like smoke. That smoke from the barbecue consumes us. And therefore, it does produce inflammatory condition within our body because of the carcinogens, or what we call hydrocarbons. And as Brother said here, it's like, you know, putting your nose down at the tailpipe of your automobile and inhaling that.
Who would do that?
Who would do that?
No one.
And even people say, well, just a little bit. You know, the Bible says the little foxes that spoil the vineyard. And so just a little bit is enough to create a condition in your body in which we go to the doctor and say, well, I don't know how I end up with cancer. Doesn't run in my family, but just look at how many grills you have used over the period of years.
Now, someone would say, you know, well, because, you know, people are watching this and they're thinking, you're thinking, are they telling me that I can't barbecue, that I can't go out and have my steak on the barbecue grill or have my chicken on the barbecue grill? Yes, we are, if you want to avoid this issue. Now, here's the thing. There's something called heterocyclic amines. And it doesn't matter if it's meat, it's going to produce that, and that is the carcinogen that we're talking about. Now, so what you're saying is, someone out there who's really a more educated consumer and really trying to be more health conscious, you might be saying, well, I use a better choice of meat. I use organic chicken, or free range this or that, organic meats. That makes a difference, doesn't it?
Well, it's supposed to make a difference, but it still has the blood in it, and it still has the fat. Now remember, it's the dripping of that fat onto those charcoal that gives that emit, and the smoke comes back up that causes the problem. So we want to just encourage them, if they want to avoid that. Remember, in our little presentation, it indicated that they should lower the temperature, do grill instead of barbecue.
That's right. That's right.
And then a lot of times it's because of those high temperatures, that's what's causing that inflammation kind of byproducts. And that really, it even affects your cells. Okay, so it stresses your cell and it ages it quicker.
Oh,
So
wow.
not only is it cancerous, it's actually debilitating us from the
And we should mention
inside.
aging. That means there's an oxidation process.
Right.
If there's
going on.
aging, there's an oxidative process.
That's right, because of the high fat and et cetera. It's dealing with these hydrocarbons and the very chemical that you mentioned.
Let's put that into perspective, because you're talking about cell damage, you're talking about stress damage on the cell, or stress on the cell. So just think about how you feel when your day is just going completely wrong and you are stressed out. How that burning feeling in your gut, and you get a headache. Can you imagine at the cellular level, trillions of cells are experiencing that? That's something to think about, right?
That's right. Have you ever, and as the sister mentioned, with the aging process, you've seen a person who smokes a lot. They age quickly.
That's right.
The oxidation, the smoking, that causes that rapid aging. And so if we can just go microscopically at a cellular level, we see even with the barbecue, the smoking process, it does the same thing to us.
Now, what we're saying has to be accurate, it has to be true, because we're seeing that there is an increase in cancer.
Correct.
There's an increase in all of these lifestyle diseases that we're seeing, especially among those who feel that barbecuing is something they can do every couple of days, every week. We would say temperance would dictate that you would do it every now and then, holidays or whatever. But it has become such a part of the culture that we're doing it more than just holidays. We're doing it every opportunity. It's kind of a celebration. There are places you can just call someone up and say, hey, we're about to have a barbecue, and people would show up at your house.
That's right.
Some of the people you didn't even invite.
That's right.
Because it's just something that people enjoy. Now, let's get to some practical things that we can talk about here, about what people can do. I like what you said, Dr. Jackson, Sister Laverne. You said that you can bring it down to a lower heat. You also agreed with that. Talked about in the piece there, on the clip, it said that you can sort of preheat the food a little bit, So as I see it, we have about 4 options. Number 1 is if you're barbecuing, then you want to stop doing that. I know that sounds a little radical, but if it's causing cancer, why play with cancer? And if you've ever seen anyone suffering from cancer, it's a major, major deal.
It's a high price to pay.
It's a high price to pay.
That's right.
Now, the second option is to start the transition from barbecuing to what?
Grilling.
To grilling. And I think you explained that very, very nicely, where we're talking about not using the smoke. You can grill within your own house, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't barbecue inside your house, right?
That's right. No.
Because the smoke
would
But if you barbecue, you be barbecue.
right. So, and then we're talking about, as a third option, we're talking about grilling things that are a healthier option. We're talking about things that are plant-based. Is that right?
That's correct.
Plant-based. There are things that, and when we talk about plant-based, we're talking about vegetarian, vegan, those things that have been derived from a plant source, not an animal source. And you can pick up a lot of these things from your local grocery store, different types of vegetarian burgers and things like that. They even have a product that's just like chicken, Gardein, I think it's called. And this is something that is plant-based, doesn't have the animal fat in it. What else can people do? You want to talk about those vegetables.
I want to talk.
That's the 4th stage.
That's the 4th stage.
This is a transition.
It's a transition. You don't have to do it all at once.
Good, best, what is
Right.
good, best, better?
Good, best, or better.
And the better is?
Better is eggplant or
grilled
squash.
eggplant.
Is very lovely. What else?
One of my favorites is portobello mushrooms. They're
Okay.
very large, and
Huge.
when you grill them, it still has that meaty kind of flavor
It
to
does have a meaty kind of
Yes.
texture.
It's a great,
Has that kind of texture.
great
yeah.
burger.
Right.
That's true.
So we're talking about some good vegetables that you can grill on the barbecue. Oh, not on the barbecue. let me be
Grill.
clear. On the grill.
grill.
Because you don't have to have the smoke, because
That's
there are
correct.
some that are electric.
That's right.
Propane, right? Is that okay? Is that safe?
Yes, because remember, it is the smoke that as you trap that smoke, remember the little clip you showed was very, very clear. It's the smoking that caused the carcinogens.
And when the smoke gets ingested, because you eat it and the smoke gets ingested into your body, then it starts spreading out throughout the cells.
Well, I think we've made the point today. It's been very, very clear that we need to make these kind of changes. You know, From Sickness to Health, we truly want to take you from being sick to being healthy. And so many are very, very healthy. And we dedicate a lot of time looking for the best people to come and talk to you about how you can get healthy. So we hope that today you've heard something and you're ready to make that change. Until next time, we look forward to seeing you again on From Sickness to Health. Psalm 102 verse 3 states, "For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as a hearth." As we have learned today, smoke gives the signal of something else that is going on and serves as a warning. It is widely known that when there is smoke, there is fire. And when there is inflammation in the system, it can be like fire in the bones. If we are routinely using smoke to cook our food, there will be fire in the bones. Well, we hope that you have found this information helpful.
Even if you find it depressing.
Health is never depressing.
It is when a man can enjoy a nice juicy steak or a juicy hamburger. Admit it. Sometimes, don't you want a grilled burger?
Nope.
Well, how about this one?
Oh man, get that thing away from me. That'll kill somebody.
No! Just make them sick. See? Watch.
Friends, smoke can be a good thing or a bad thing. Ideally, smoke often signaled the presence of God in the Bible. However, when God's word or warning was not heeded, it signaled the presence of evil. In our bodies, when we violate God's perfect plan for us, an inflamed response in the system is the result. Let's do our best to pray always and allow the righteous smoke of Christ's righteousness to make our prayer a sweet savor unto the Lord. Finally, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health. I'm Rico Hill.
I'm Sickness.
Maranatha, I tried to warn you.
I think a little too much time around that smoke. That burger, a little too charred. Cough drop! I should have put some ketchup on that thing. Cough drop!